Welcome to a special edition of the Undisputed podcast. I'm your host, Joy Taylor. Today's podcast is all about all you need to know ahead of the weekend's biggest NFL games, highlighted by some of this week's best Undisputed segments. Skip, Shannon, let's get to it. Here we go. 2 weeks ago, our very own Eric Dickerson was in Cabo to watch Ezekiel Elliott train while he served his 6-game suspension. Zeke bet Eric that he could rush for 200 yards in his first game back against Seattle. It did not go as planned for Zeke because he rushed for just 97 yards, and the Cowboys lost, ending their playoff chances. Eric Dickerson.
Good morning.
Eric Dickerson.
Good morning.
It is so good to see you.
Man, you too.
Yeah.
Oh, I see you writing over there. I don't even need notes for
Go
that.
ahead, Skip.
My turn.
Good luck, Eric.
Eric Dickerson, my friend.
Yes, sir.
I want to congratulate you on wrecking my Dallas Cowboys season. I want to congratulate you on being one of the shrewdest operators I have ever encountered, because you even pulled the wool right over my eyes. The last time you sat in that seat, 2 weeks ago, you broke the news that you had been invited by Zeke's agent to go down to Cabo San Lucas and to counsel young Zeke on how to handle himself on and off the field. And I was mesmerized. I was spellbound. And you divulged to our huge audience here on Undisputed that, Zeke even said he was going to go for 200 plus against the Seattle Seahawks in his return. And you said, I bet him. No, there's no way you're going to go for 200. I'll bet you a game-worn jersey. You're a Hall of Famer, so that's a pretty valuable jersey that you have, that number 28, against one of Zeke's game-worn jerseys. And I got so caught up in, because I love this show, that you were...
2-9, but that's... I'm going to...
2-9, I'm sorry.
I'll correct that later. Go ahead.
I'm thinking of Marshall Faulk.
Yeah.
2-9, but I got so caught up in the news that you were breaking that I lost sight of the fact that not until Joe Buck said during the Fox telecast, Zeke was not very happy that you went public with the bet, because you actually rigged the bet on your behalf, because clearly the Seattle Seahawks, as injured as they might be, are still a very proud bunch. And they can play angry about as well as anybody in the National Football League. And so you pushed all the buttons in the Seattle locker room. They were on fire to stop Ezekiel Elliott and help you win your bet, because you used your public platform here on Undisputed and other platforms that you have to sabotage him in the game against the Seattle Seahawks, the game I had to win to stay alive for the playoffs. This was it. I felt so good about it. And I realized when Joe Buck said that, he got me. It's ED at work, shrewd operator. You broke the unwritten rule. What is said in Cabo stays in Cabo. You can't go public with that. Okay. How can you defend this? You realize you burned the bridge to Zeke. He's not going to talk to you anymore, right?
Are you finished?
I'm just getting started.
Well, look, I'll say this. First, I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
It's just on
I was
tape.
just talking.
It's just
you asked me, how did it go down in Cabo? I was just trying to
no,
tell you.
you volunteered. We didn't know.
I was just trying to tell you how it went. I know for a fact that when you say something, that that probably the other team is gonna probably look at it.
Probably.
Yeah, they probably look at it. I'm not a Cowboy lover, as we know. Look, y'all wasn't gonna make the playoffs, no.
Yes, we were.
No, you were not.
Yep.
No, you were not.
Yep.
That's what I told Zeke. I said, look, why don't we just make it 150 or 170? Let's just cut it back. No, I want to. And I did not know that y'all were playing the Seahawks. I don't know the Cowboys schedule. I thought maybe y'all playing somebody like, the Browns or the Cardinals or something like that. Then I saw Seahawks. I'm like, oh, hell yeah, I'm going to win this bet. I'm going to win this bet. So, in my defense, I plead the fifth. I did not know that y'all were playing the Seahawks, and I didn't know that was going to cause that kind of problem. I didn't know the Seahawks would come out and play like that. I mean,
But you had to know that again, to make your bet far more winnable, if you go public with the bet, the Seahawks are not going to like it.
So let me ask you this question.
Played.
Okay, let me ask you this question. Let's just say nothing was said. You think he was still going to go for 200 yards? Be honest now.
I mean, if they'd hand him
Be
the ball,
honest.
like in the
Like
second
50
half,
times?
he had 73 at halftime, so he had a chance, right?
That's what they call it, halftime adjustments. Halftime adjustment. But do you really think he's going to go?
You know what? I think you would have had a far better chance. All I read after the game was quote after quote from Bobby Wagner, who can play angry about as well as anybody. We were not going to let him do this. And that little, what was his name? Little Coleman.
Oh, yeah.
He picks that off and he runs and jumps in the Salvation Army pot because they were all geared to stop Zeke. He was sending a message. Yeah, you ain't going to do it to us on national TV in your house.
Well, they were
Sorry.
killing Dak. I mean, the thing was the pass rushers getting them. So y'all had nothing to work with. So it's not my
I don't
fault.
have ED.
What you think
I
about
don't
it?
have
You have a huge
I
problem
don't have
with
a
it.
problem with it. You know why? Because if I were to go hunt lions in Africa, not that I would, I'm going to go to the Serengeti. I don't need a tracker. I don't need anything. I'm going to go yelling and screaming. Because I don't want him to think I'm sneaking up on him. I want you to know.
Baloney.
That's why I talk, Joy.
Baloney.
You know why I talk, ED? I talk because I didn't. Man, I ain't know Shannon Sharp was that good. Yeah, you did, because I told you I was that good, and I told you I was going to come get me 100 on you. Zeke, Skip, there's no secret they were going to hand the ball. That's the only way they can win. They're not winning games with Dak throwing the ball. They must run the football. So it's not. Did you actually think they were going to give up 200 yards after they just gave up 244 to the Rams the week before?
Thank you.
Did you actually think that, Skip Bayless?
Skip no better.
Here, Joe Buck said Zeke told them in their production meeting on Saturday, I didn't know Eric was going to go public with this bet. You can't do that. You know and I know what that
Go
is.
public
with
You
it.
sabotaged it. It's
don't
over.
say- I don't say-
No way.
Remember I told you this, excuse me, Shannon. Remember I told you this early. Now, you can probably go back and look at it. Didn't I tell you that y'all would trade Todd Gurley straight up for Zeke? I would take Todd. Didn't I say that?
Now
didn't
you- now
I
you-
say
now
that?
you're front running.
Didn't I say
Yep.
that? Did I not say that? I just want to know. Did I say that?
Yeah, now he's
Yes, I did.
Now he's right there with Le'Veon Bell because he can catch the ball just as good as Le'Veon. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. But anyway, Skip Bayless.
Wait a second.
Go
I'm
ahead.
going to bite my lip on this because we're going to talk about Todd Gurley.
Okay, how
on the
about
next topic.
before we go into Skip? Your team had every opportunity. Zeke wasn't even there, so forget the bet. What about those other 6 games?
That has nothing to do with the bet. The
No,
bet
it's
sabotaged.
about-
We had it.
The
He's
bet,
saying
we had
the
it.
bet was he get 200 yards, he
Yeah.
gets a game-worn 29 Rams jersey. He didn't get it. Now cough it up, Zeke.
Yeah, but the
I call it-
Seahawks said their sole motivation was to stop Zeke and beat Dallas.
That's their sole
Fired
motivation
up.
to beat the
That's
Cowboys.
everybody's motivation.
Wrecked my season.
No.
I had it.
You know,
Dak did.
You know who did that? You know who
Dak
did? You
did
know who did that? Really? This.
Jerry Jones?
No, Sean Lee.
Ah!
I blame it on Sean Lee. That's what I blame it on.
Sean Lee can play offense. He can play. All I know is Bobby Wagner playing with a hurt hamstring,
Yeah.
making plays side to side.
What happened in the second half against your Rams? What happened in the
Did- wait,
second
wait,
half
wait,
against
wait,
your
did-
Aaron
did-
Rodgers?
Joy.
Did we win that football game? That's all I want to know.
Help me out. Was Zeke playing in those 2 games? Yes, he was. Was Sean Lee playing in those 2 games? No, he was not.
What was Sean Lee trying to do? Chase Todd Gurley down. What did he do? Pull a hamstring
No,
because
he was
faster.
gone. He
Was
wasn't
gone?
there. He was gone.
Okay.
Edie, I got this
Chase
new
him
restaurant. I'm gonna take the ladies first. What would you have?
I'll have some.
Hot dub or hot ale? Hot dub.
I'll have one.
One hot dub for you. One hot ale for you.
Can you put me a jersey on that too?
Yeah. Okay, he gets a hot dub
What a-
and hot jersey. And me, I get a cold dew.
Shannon Sharp, Hall of Famer. Did this Hall of Famer not break the unwritten rule that you don't go public with a
Go
bet like
public.
that?
I don't play
Go
for the
public.
Cowboys. I don't play. Do I play for the?
No.
play for the Cowboys?
That's information.
You play for the
What's
Cowboys?
hold on.
I play
Skip.
for the
Wait a second.
No.
You were summoned by the agent to go to Cabo
I
and
did.
impart wisdom.
He
I
went.
to this
did.
poor
I
kid
did.
who's serving a 6-game suspension, and he's going to have to come back, even though you claim you didn't know, against the Seahawks.
I did not know. I really
And so
didn't know.
he's feeling his oats. He's got a new physique.
Yeah,
He's
look good.
He's re-ripped. He's lost his little pot belly. And he says, Eric, I'm going for 200. And you said, oh, 200. And all of a sudden you make a bet. It's just you two talking at dinner. This is
He's
not
a journalist.
Remember, you said
He's not a
you
journalist.
sit here. You said to me, "Oh, with Todd Gurley, man, I think that's a good bet. I think he can do that." You said it right here on air. Did you say
Why?
that too?
I didn't make a bet with Todd
But
Gurley.
no,
If-
I'm not.
if Todd
I'm
Gurley
talking-
made a
not
bet
Todd,
with
not
me, I
Todd.
wouldn't go public
No,
with it.
not Todd. I'm talking about Zeke. I asked you. You said, "Oh yeah, I think he can do that."
I said he
Zeke?
Yeah, you
Yeah,
said.
but I was caught up and you were breaking news that
Yeah.
you were the only one in captivity who got to go out and see where Zeke was.
So I got you caught up then.
I didn't know he was in
got you-
Cabo.
So I got you caught up.
We thought he was in
I got you
Europe.
caught up. I got you caught up, huh?
Oh, okay, Edie,
I
break
got
some
it
more
caught up.
news. When
I
you
got-
getting that jersey?
I called his agent yesterday. I said, I want that jersey from the Seahawks, too.
Did he,
Yeah.
did he take your call?
Of course he talked to me.
Oh,
He
yeah.
said the same thing. Man, you sabotage. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
you sabotage.
So is
That's-
Zeke mad at you?
No.
That sounds just like
No,
Rocky.
the agent said that.
Rocky.
You know Rocky.
Yeah, I know Rocky.
I said, I said, then he gave him the ball. I said, what, 60 times?
Yeah.
Carry 60 times to get 20 yards.
That's what I told Skip. I just didn't think that he was in the football conditioning. Unless you break off a 70, you need 2 runs of at least almost 100 yards. Then you can get 25 more for another 100. But without those big, long runs, Skip, he wasn't going to get that.
I guess he was just so gassed and so worn out and so out of shape that when it was 1st and goal at the 3 with 7:54 left in the fourth quarter, they decided we can't hand it to Zeke in this case because, hey, you want to talk about bad? That blew the whole year for me. They had the momentum back. They're going to cut it to 21-19. The crowd's back into it. And you do that and that and that, and you score none?
Jason Garrett was listening to Careless Whisper in his headset. So, and you know, you get Skip. That song start playing, man. Oh, man. Should have known better than Skip. I'm sorry.
They're walking off the field after a missed field goal, and he's going like this. Robot. He just keeps clapping. You don't even know what's happening.
Hold on. As long as Jerry's going to Skip, you're going to be, look, you when you covered the Cowboys, there was probably 3 of the greatest years of your life. Cowboys were winning. They were winning Super Bowls.
Wait, you got to go back another rotation there.
Okay. So you got him in the 70s. You got him in the 70s. Yeah. Y'all was some poo-poo in the 80s. Y'all picked up Steve, started running again in the 90s, and then this has been all
like a flat tire.
I mean, Skip. When y'all gonna hit bottom?
Hit bottom. We got lots of Lombardis. We hit top a lot.
Oh, like you told me, that's in the past. That's old news.
That's in the past.
No, but I got that. I got it.
Do you know
on my mantle?
Do you know since then? Patriots got 5, Broncos got 3, Steelers got 3, Giants got 2. I mean, look at all the teams that got all these multiple since y'all. They got more Lombardi than y'all got playoffs wins since y'all. Oh my goodness.
Scariest team in the NFC playoffs would have been the Dallas Cowboys.
I don't know what would have happened.
But that man stopped.
Please. Let me tell you something. We'd have beat y'all to death at home. We'd have killed y'all.
You know what? Did you beat us to death in that game?
Yes! We came from behind and beat y'all.
What was the score at halftime?
What was the score? 35-30, something like that?
35 to 30.
But y'all were down 1 point, 24-6.
Exactly. We won the game. That's all that counts.
Outscored you guys.
24-16 at halftime.
Bro, first of all, y'all not playing that good no way.
No.
Y'all not playing. Come on, you got to admit it. Y'all ain't playing good. The offensive line.
Did you see George Lewis trying to guard Jimmy Graham? Jimmy Graham posted him up. I thought he was Emmanuel Lewis.
Wait a second. Time out. Seattle had 136 total yards. Total yards. That's how good Sean Lee made that defense.
What about tell him about Dak? Tell him what Dak did.
Who won the game?
I should have bet Dak jersey. I want that jersey.
You know what it is about Eric? He says everything with this smile on his face. You know?
I don't know
you should be a salesman.
Hey, I can tell you this. You will not be invited to counsel Zeke anymore. That's over.
I'm a good counselor.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a good counselor. I am. I've been there, done that.
Skip, I mean, you make it seem like ED was out there tackling the man.
Exactly. I didn't make him make that bet.
You realize there are doctor-patient privileges that you just don't, just don't divulge.
I'm not
you
doctor.
Can't go public
it's not
with
doctor in front of my name. You can just put Mr.
He's a journalist.
No mercy. The Cowboys are 8-7 and will not be going to the playoffs. Earlier this week, Des Bryant said, the season has been frustrating and added, quote, certain situations I couldn't control. This led a lot of people to question his chemistry with Dak Prescott. Yesterday, Dak talked about that issue. Let's take a listen.
Me and Des are great, and frustration on the field, off the field, it's not going to matter. We're true friends, and whether we do hit a bad spot or not, we're good enough friends we'll be able to get around it. So, I mean, he's got all my respect on and off the field. He's a great person, so we're good.
Shannon, do you believe Dak?
No. He's saying all the right things, but he can't possibly believe that, Skip. If I have to tell you how my relationship is with another person, Skip, what is that?
It's damage control.
Exactly. Because what did he say after the game? I guess I need to put the ball in his face mask so he can't drop it. I guess. Last year, I'll throw it to him when he's open.
Yep.
Now, what did Dez do, Skip? You remember Tony Romo was out. What did Dez do? Tony Romo throwing the missiles in practice. Hold on, wait a minute.
Yep.
I'm the starter. I'm throwing you the ball, and you talking about a guy that's throwing in practice, and he's throwing missiles. He's looking good. I heard that. Now, Dez is also complaining about the scheme. This is the exact scheme in 2014 when Dez had 1,307 yards and 16 touchdowns. I never heard Dez Bryant say anything about scheme. Only now, as his numbers have started to plummet, it's the scheme. I'm watching film and I'm running routes better than some. Who? What person are you running better routes than that make that kind of money? I'm not talking about guys that are 7th round picks or 6th round picks making $1 million or $2 million. Who do you run routes better than? Because remember, Skip, in 2014, there was a serious discussion. Who's better, Dez Bryant or Julio Jones? Mm-hmm. Now somebody hit you in your face 15 times, you ask them who's better. Because you already know. Skip, this is a problem because Dak is like, hold on, I'm looking at my numbers. Shannon Sharp over here gave me a failing grade. I got 13 picks, yeah. But 5 of them jokers came when I was trying to throw the ball to you because you're not open. The ball bouncing off your hands.
Thank you. Keep going.
You're like, hold on, wait a minute. You keep on talking about your number. You still ain't going to take no pay cut.
Yep.
I get it. And I've been very fortunate that I had a great relationship with John, and I've had great relationships with all the quarterbacks.
John Elway.
Yes. But Skip, when I have to tell you my relationship with anyone, there's a problem. Because obviously people see things, and it's like, that's not common. John would have never said, even if I dropped 4 passes in the game, which I never did. But anyway, even if I had, John ain't said, I guess I got to put the ball between the 8 and the 4 to make sure he can't drop it.
Yep.
I throw it to Shannon when he gets open. Well, I catch it when he throw it to me. That's what Dad should have said. Well, I catch it when he throw it to me. And then Dak would say, that's a lie. I threw it to you Sunday, and you dropped it and cost me an interception. Mm-hmm. I threw it to you, you fumbled it, and I threw it to you again, and you dropped 2 more passes.
Yep.
So that's a lie. If I throw it to you, you're going to catch it. It's a problem, Skip.
Yep.
This is a problem. And I told you it was going to be a problem because he started chirping last year at the rookie quarterback.
He did. The quote you speak of, the face mask quote after the game the other day, the loss the other day, the one that I will never recover from, the face mask quote was a bridge burner between Dez Bryant and this quarterback. It was teetering last year after the opening quote after the first game. I'll throw it to him when he's open. Mm-hmm. And I'm going to remind everyone, shortly after that, Dez, unfortunately for him, got hurt. And I'm going to remind everyone that they went for 3 games and they took off without Dez Bryant. They went to San Francisco, which wasn't a huge thing, but they fell behind 14-0, and they stormed back, throwing to Bryce Butler in place of Dez Bryant. Then they came home to face Cincinnati, which at that point had a top 5 defense. Some people thought they might be the best defense, and that Dallas was going to have a hard time establishing any kind of run game against Cincinnati. No Dez Bryant. Didn't matter. They punished Cincinnati running and throwing.
That is correct.
And then they went up to Brett Favre's house on the not yet frozen tundra.
But it was dreary. It was raining.
It was raining. It was a dreary day. And they beat the stuffing out of Aaron Rodgers and company with no Dez Bryant. Well, just put that in your bank. You could see what was happening. They had a more wide open, varied offense.
Right.
It had more breadth to it. It was harder to defend because it wasn't 88 over there with obvious single coverage. And one thing about Dak Prescott, he is a student of the game, and he goes maybe to a fault by the book.
Correct.
He goes through his progressions. And when his progressions scream, 88 is single covered out here. Cole Beasley's doubled here. Maybe even Jason Witten is doubled in the middle.
Right.
The book tells me I got to throw it to 88. Right. And the stats tell you that 88 leads the NFL in drop passes. Right. That won't work because you kept going to a dry well, to use a Jerry Jones term, right?
Correct.
And if you keep going and you throw him the 11th most targets in the league, that's high. 11th most of 32 teams in the league. And he comes up with only the 23rd most catches in the league.
Yes.
You're going to lose a bunch of football games.
Yep.
And to your point, if he lets you throw into pick sixes because the ball goes through his hand, at some point, it's just not working. I don't know why. Romo had a rapport, had a wavelength, had a soul connection with Dez.
You know why, Skip? Because if Romo threw it, that's Tony Romo. That's what Tony accident waiting to happen.
Yep.
Tony, So we expect if Tony Romo has always had riverboat gambling in him. He was always Brett Favre because he would put the ball in harm's way. Sometimes good things happen.
He grew up loving Brett Favre in Wisconsin.
Right.
Yep.
Sometimes good things happen. Sometimes they didn't. But Dak was taught early on, Dak, we're going to run this ball, and hey, if he's open, throw him the ball. If he's not, hey, we check it down. We live to see another day. But Dez probably went upstairs, Jerry. So now they're forcing him to throw the ball. I know what his read says. Dak says, yes, my read says I should go to Dez Bryant because he's single coverage. But when I watch the tape, he ain't nowhere near open. So I'm putting the ball in harm because those interceptions, they don't say they carry them off Dez Bryant's hand. See, when you like 13 interceptions, they don't say, well, 5 of them carry them off Dez Bryant's hand or, something happened. No. That says 13 interceptions, Dak Prescott. So I'm asking Dez, who are these receivers, the elite receivers that you say you run routes better than?
Yep.
And Skip,
I don't know who he's talking about. Terrence Williams?
I'm surprised that the story about when Dak hadn't gotten more legs, when Dak said, I got to throw the ball and put it in his face mask so he can't drop it.
Yep.
I guess.
I guess.
Skip.
That was the most truthful thing Dak's ever said publicly because he always says the right thing, politically correct thing.
Well, he did say
he just spilled his guts.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I told you, people, when you're angry, you're drunk, or you're a child, you tell the truth.
No,
he was upset
true.
because this was right there for him. He said leading up to the week, everything for us is in front of us. We control our own destiny. And he just saw, he throw it to a guy, he drop a couple of them, caroms off his hand, a pick, throw it to a guy, punches it out. Dak's like, what am I supposed to do? You telling me I should give him the more opportunities, but look at what he's doing with the opportunities that I do give him.
Yep.
So what am I supposed to do with that? How is that my fault?
And what did I just tell you in the previous discussion we had about Todd Gurley and Tom Brady? To me, the quarterback position is 10 times the most valuable. So in this case, again, I'm going to side with Dak Prescott. Unfortunately, the owner is probably going to side with the wide receiver. And I'm not saying wide receivers are a dime a dozen, but you can replace the wide receiver before you can replace the quarterback.
Absolutely.
Everybody's still looking for about half this league is looking for a quarterback.
Putting up Dez Bryant numbers, now replacing an Antonio Brown or Julio Jones, or those top guys, but a guy that's putting up Dez numbers, there are 15 guys to do that.
Sure.
And they won't cost, and all of them together might cost you $16 million cap.
Yep. So my Dallas Cowboys are stuck with a Dez dilemma.
They're not stuck with it.
Well, they are. I think they are. And if I'm right about this, if the owner's going to hang in with him and say, we'll figure it out next year, I will not love my team's chances nearly as much next year if they're stuck with this going forward because this is a troubled relationship between the quarterback and the receiver, and we saw it all year long.
But how is Dez going to get better, Skip? How is he going to get better?
You know what? That's exactly the problem here. We talked about it yesterday. Would he suddenly submit to, I'm going to become Larry Fitzgerald. I'm going to figure out how to play in the slot and become a possession inside receiver. And I'm going to learn. I'm going to study the whole offseason. I'm going to figure out how to find those soft spots in the zone. He's not going to do that. Has he ever demonstrated that to you before?
They don't play slot receivers $14 million.
No.
So he's looking at it like this is as a demotion. He's not looking at it, well, I can probably help my team more in here than out there. But Skip, you gotta have a very, and I'm not saying Dez is illiterate or dumb or anything like that, but to play the slot, things happen a lot quicker.
We're just talking about football IQ.
Yes. Because you got to realize, Skip, you're not getting a whole lot of, you're running outs, you're running go balls, you're running, skinny posts or whatever. But you got shallow cross. Do I A window, the B window? Do I keep going?
Yep.
Okay, where's my zone? All that. Am I hot? So you need to know all of that. The question is Dez willing to revamp his game? That's the Skip. As my career started winding down, I changed the way I trained. I started went to a speed coach. And if you look at my numbers as far as big plays, I had more big plays after 30 than I did before.
I got it. So Larry Fitzgerald will tell you today that Bruce Arians added 3 years onto his career, very productive years, by forcing him against his will to learn how to play in the slot. Will Des Bryant do that? I think not.
It was hard. And Larry called me when Bruce Arians asked him to do that. He says, that's what he called me. Called me Unc. He called me Unc a long time. He said, Unc, what you think? And I told him I was honest with him. He said, I appreciate it.
And you told him,
I told him, do it. I said, Larry, this doesn't diminish you. I said, actually, it's going to help. Told him the same thing. It's going to add years to your life. Wow. You still can make your plays. Larry, nobody's going to think all of a sudden Larry Fitzgerald can't play, but you're more valuable because if they put you in the slot, you can do what the other guys can't. Those are speed guys. The John Browns and your smaller guys, they can't play the slot. They're not as knowledgeable as you are. So now you get more great players on the field.
Right.
So don't look at it as subtracting. Look at it as adding. Look at Larry Fitzgerald going to the Pro Bowl again.
88 needs to be subtracted from the Dallas Cowboys.
There you go. Skip, that's your team.
That's why he needs to be subtracted.
No mercy. Brandon Marshall was supposed to be a big free agent pickup for the Giants last summer, but he did not score a touchdown this season and only played 5 games after injuring his ankle in October. Yesterday, the 12-year vet said he's not done playing and even shared some lofty goals. Let's take a listen.
I'm all in on football, rebuilt my body. I think I'm 2 great years away from, and I'll say it, I want to be a Hall of Famer, and I think I got 2 great years to go, and to be mentioned with some of the greats. I'm not just playing this game just to be a guy. I want to be remembered for the product that I put on the field. So these last 2 years has been tough. Last year with the Jets, this year with the Giants. But I'm hopeful that the next couple years for me will be some amazing years and some of my best work.
Shannon, what are Marshall's Hall of Fame chances?
Skip, I'm going to give him 10% because right now he has 959 catches, a little over 12,000 yards, 82 touchdowns. He's 6 Pro Bowls, 1 first-team All-Pro. But the problem that he's going to run into, Skip, everybody from his era is going to have outstanding numbers, and they're not going to have the baggage because unlike T.O. had no off-the-field issues. Brandon, early in his career, had a lot of off-the-field issues. He also had some on-the-field issues. And they say now they're going to be using that because, as they said, everybody keeps saying, T.O., there were so many teams that couldn't wait to get rid of him. The Broncos got rid of him. The Dolphins got rid of him. The Bears got rid of him. The Jets got rid of him. And if he's not there with the Giants next year, the Giants would have gotten rid of him.
And that could happen.
And he has yet to make the playoffs. So what about the guys that has his numbers with no baggage that's made the playoffs? They get to step to the front of the line. Unfortunately, that's how it is because they said they will use the off the field and happens on the sideline and in the locker room and in the meeting rooms. They say they will factor that in. That's going to have to be factored in into Brandon Marshall's resume. Skip, 8 1,000-yard seasons. He had 100, most catches in a game in the NFL history with 21. A couple of 1,000-yard seasons, gone to the Pro Bowl with a lot of different teams.
Yep.
He's going to have numbers that would warrant the attention. But I'm afraid that they're going to be all the guys, top guys that play in this era, is going to have the 1,000 catches, going to have the 80 to 100-plus touchdowns.
Yep.
But they're not going to have the issues that's surrounding Brandon. But he's had a phenomenal career. I wish he had thought about this in the beginning as opposed to the end. You see how reflective we get, Skip, when time is almost up. And I tell guys, time is the one thing you can never recapture.
And it goes so fast.
So fast.
Yep. So, I know Brandon. I like Brandon a lot. He has had some personal demons that he has addressed and corrected.
Yep.
And yet, I am sitting across from a man right now who played in 18 playoff games and went 13-5 and won 3 Super Bowl rings. And his name is Shannon Sharp. And he's in the Hall of Fame. And we're talking about a man, as you point out, who's never played in a playoff game, and he's going on age 34 in March. And I don't love his chances of playing in one next year. So I'm going to give him a 0% chance of making it into the Hall of Fame just on that stat alone.
What if he gets released by the Giants and he goes to New England?
Man, the guy I saw earlier this year before he unfortunately got hurt.
Looked like he stepped off a cliff.
He just did. He went Des Bryant or Des went Brandon or something. They just look like they hit that wall. Whatever that wall is, he looked like he hit it. I couldn't even recognize him.
No.
So now he said he rebuilt his body. Well, why didn't you rebuild it last year coming into this year? Because I bought in, man.
Yeah.
I think both of us did.
Yep.
I thought Brandon was going to have a nice year as the perfect fit, almost like the tight end Eli really hasn't had.
Right.
Because he's a big body.
He's a big dude.
Oof.
He's a really big dude.
Big dude. And yet, you know, Roger Lewis ended up being better for Eli than Brandon Marshall was. And so we like Evan Ingram. You can't, what's not
Oh,
to
yeah,
like?
he's gonna be,
you
look,
know?
he's gonna be special.
He's going to be really good. And I still like Sterling Shepard. He'll drop a ball occasionally, but he'll make big plays.
Odell coming back.
So, and Odell obviously can be number one.
Very motivated.
Yeah, very motivated.
They're probably
Yep.
not going to extend the contract.
Yep.
Probably going to make him play year 5. So he'll have something, a chip on his shoulder. He's going to be wanting the ball. I'm afraid, Skip, you might better give Odell a contract, because can you imagine what he's going to be like knowing that he's playing for a contract, and if he doesn't get like 20 targets a game,
Yep.
what he will be like on the sidelines?
I question the antics. I do not question the ability and the performance.
Oh,
'cause
no.
He can perform.
He can.
So I'm not even sure that Brandon's in the plans. They have a new GM. You don't know what direction they're going to go. And I'm just not sure about all this. I'm rooting for him.
Yes.
But let me tell you, he potentially could have a better career as a broadcaster, commentator
Yes.
than he had in the NFL. Potentially.
Yeah.
He's really good at it.
Because you got to look, you said he'll be 34.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, he was injured this year at New York. He was injured a lot the previous year at the Jets. Normally, as guys get older, they don't get healthier, Skip. I mean, guys can be in shape, but you don't get the body younger.
Yeah.
You can get it better, but you're not going to make it younger. And he's had, an injury that put him out for the entire year.
Yep. So I would have to say, as big a disappointment as my Cowboys have been and the Raiders have been and the Broncos have been, this team, this is a disaster.
Yeah.
And you picked them to win the division. I picked them to be in the playoffs. Who didn't pick them to just
Right.
at least be in the playoffs?
And then knowing all the things,
Yep.
the GM is fired, the head
Yeah.
coach is fired. Now
Yeah.
they have all this internal strife going on with the defense,
Yeah.
and it's a mess.
And the incredible stat to me is, I'm not surprised because Eli was starting to hit the wall also. So the offense with the injuries doesn't surprise me. The defense now ranks 29th in points. 29th? I thought going into the year, that looked like a top 5 defense, right?
Considering what they were last year, and you brought all the pieces back. They're another year in the system of Spagnuolo, so they really know.
Wow.
Landon Collins is an All-Pro. He was a Defensive Player of the Year candidate. They got Jack Rabbit, Pro Bowler, Carl Marty, Pro Bowler, JPP, Olivier Vernon, Snacks Harrison. I mean, what's not
That's
to
some
like about them defensively?
Firepower, man.
And they laid an egg, Skip.
They laid an egg. So I think there's going to be some house cleaning.
Got to be.
And I'm going to assume that they're going to lose to the Redskins, who are a 3-point favorite. Eli's going to quarterback, so he's going to start and play. I don't know. But if they do lose that game, they're locked into that number 2 overall pick. So I think they're going – they got to pick a quarterback, right?
Yep.
And I'm going to assume that Sam Darnold will be picked by the Browns. That's just an assumption, which would leave the Giants probably picking among the other maybe 3. I'll throw Baker Mayfield in the group. But obviously Josh Allen, Josh Rosen, maybe Baker Mayfield on the outside. But the point is they're going in new directions here,
you
right?
You got to. When it gets this bad, Skip, when you fire the head coach and general manager, there's a lot of things that had to go wrong. And so there are some guys on that defensive side of football making a lot of money. You're going to have to reevaluate, okay, what am I paying for? We paying you top 5 money, but we 29th in total defense. That's unacceptable. You got Eli, so Eli contract might come off the books. They might use Eli as a bridge.
They're going to have to. How can you, unless you throw some kid into the fire in the NFC East, I wouldn't do that.
No, exactly. So they might use Eli as a bridge, but you can't use him as a bridge making $18, $19 million, Skip. So I give him a 10% chance, you give him a 0% chance.
Well, the guy who's going to get tossed off the bridge, I'm afraid, is Brandon Marshall.
Well, what if he goes to New England?
Okay, maybe. Remember when Chad went to New England? Chad Ochocinco Johnson?
But at least
Remember how that
Chad
turned out?
freelanced a lot. And the one thing you can't do with those type quarterbacks is freelance. I mean, there are some times I wanted to, make up my own route out there, but 7 wasn't having it. John Elway wasn't having that.
You tried it during a game?
No, not during the game, maybe in practice. T, what the hell was that? Oh, my bad.
Didn't Tom Brady throw him one ball in the Super Bowl through Chad
One.
Ball? Yep.
Did he catch it? I don't think he caught it, Skip.
He did, didn't he? Didn't he catch one ball? I thought he did.
But we thought it was going to be because, like, man, look at Chad.
I know,
If he
I
did
thought
that with Carson Palmer,
I know.
ooh, what is he going to do with? He did that.
Oh.
How can you not?
Maybe. I mean, maybe they'd say, let's see if he can be that Martellus kind of a player. I'm just afraid his body betrayed him like Des.
Maybe he's on Tom Brady's diet.
Maybe. I hope he is, for his sake.
No mercy. James Harrison said he initially hesitated about joining the Patriots this week, but ultimately made a, quote, business decision. Now reports out of Pittsburgh say Harrison tried to get released from the Steelers because of a lack of playing time. He reportedly slept and snored during meetings and told teammates he was trying to get traded, released, or placed on injured reserve. Yesterday, Harrison's former teammates did not hold back when they were asked about him. Let's take a listen.
He erased his own legacy here. Let's be serious.
Erased the legacy, really? It's pretty strong.
You don't think so?
You tell me, it's your locker room. I mean,
Yeah, I would think so as a fan. It's crazy. It blows my mind. He wanted that. Like, it wasn't like the team said, oh, we're going to let go of James Harrison. James Harrison wanted that.
you want it out.
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to read the stories like this is something that he wanted to do, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's not like, no, they got together and said, oh, we're going to go cut James. Like, no, that's not what happened. And he needs to come out and admit that.
I don't want the media to portray that we the reason he left or the Steelers are the reason he left. You know what I'm saying? It's just, that ain't the reason. Like he chose to leave. He chose to do what he wanted to do.
We're joined by Fox NFL analyst Mark Schlereth. Stink, whose side are you on here, Harrison or the Steelers?
Well, I mean, I think it's pretty complex. I mean, the whole situation, if you're not getting to play, what do they say, 40 plays in 14 games? They played the New England Patriots. He did not get to play. If he asked for his release multiple times and he's a veteran player and they just didn't grant him his release, then guys will go about, they'll go about trying to get released. Now, I don't agree with the lack of professionalism. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with the lack of mentoring. I mean, Shannon Sharp, I played with Shannon for 6 years, Hall of Fame tight end. I know he was mentoring the heck out of Dwayne Carswell, out of the rest of the tight ends, Byron Chamberlain. I know, I saw it. I witnessed it. And I was the same way as a player. I always felt like it was my responsibility to make the guys behind me the best players they could be, even if it meant taking my job at some point. So the lack of professionalism when it comes to the mentorship, which many guys have reported that he wasn't going to mentor anybody, not Watt, not Dupree, none of the guys on the roster, that's wrong. But I also understand in this league, they are going to get you at some point. And if they promised you playing time that you're not getting, and you're sitting there going, I am rotting on the bench, and I know that I'm 39 years old and I don't have much time left, and you ask for a release, I always felt like you should grant that guy, if he's not in your plans, if you're not playing him, you should grant that guy his ability to leave so that at least he can go out there and go out on his terms. And I think, to me, he's earned that. So I don't necessarily agree with the way he went about getting released, but I have no problem with him going to the New England Patriots. That doesn't bother me at all. Listen, I hate the Raiders with a white-hot intensity of 1,000 suns. If they're paying me a check, I'll don that silver and black, and I'll go out and play my butt off for them.
Yep. Go ahead, Skip, because he just echoed basically what I said. You go.
Look, I hear you about the lack of professionalism.
Right.
But in the end, I'm on James Harrison's side, and I have little to no sympathy for any of those Steelers we heard in the locker room, because I'm going to remind you, once upon a time, this man, almost like you, this man was an undrafted free agent from Kent State. You were a seventh-round draft choice from Savannah State. And it's scary. You got to scratch and claw just to earn your way into the league.
Right.
You weren't a high pick either, obviously.
Yeah, 10th rounder.
10th round. So you guys get the insecurity that instills, and you learn right away, this is pure, hardcore, cold-blooded business. And that team, the Steelers, cut him 3 times in his first year. He was on and off the practice field. Practice squad, I'm sorry. And then he winds up going to Baltimore and then got re-signed by Pittsburgh, and then suddenly turns into the Defensive Player of the Year, 5-time Pro Bowler, two times
First team All-Pro.
First team All-Pro.
Right.
So he became legendary, as you grew up knowing James Harrison in Steeler circles, and that's hard to be a legend in. But was he ever treated like Ben Roethlisberger gets treated? Beloved like Ben? I think not. So in 2013, they cut him again. contract impasse. He goes to Cincinnati briefly, then goes back to Pittsburgh. So it's been business as usual for him all along. So after game number 1, he says he went to Mike Tomlin and said, hey, it's clear you sort of strung me along in training camp. You said I was going to get snaps. I'm getting no snaps. Just let me go somewhere else, please. Right. No, we need you. We got a plan for you. No plan until week 6 at Kansas City. They played him a little bit, and he had a sack, his only sack of the year. Mm-hmm. And then he's thinking, okay, maybe I'm back in the rotation here. Nope. And New England comes to town for the game of the year, really, in all of pro football, AFC for sure. And he plays 0 snaps, and he goes to Tomlin and says, you got to let me go, please. I've given you all I could give you. Now give me a chance.
Right.
And Tomlin said, I'd be crazy I could have an injury. I need you. I need to keep you on ice. And then, in a shock to James, he turns around last week and said, that's it. You're out. You can go. But please stay in shape, said Mike Tomlin, according to James. Stay in shape because in a month I might need you back. Well, what's James Harrison? He's thinking, well, wait a second. I could go somewhere right now. And he said he hesitated a little to go to the arch rival New England, team that's quote-unquote owned them all these years. And then he said, what the heck, man? Yeah. I'm going to go do this. Right. Because it's not only just one game check or 2 or 3 or whatever it's going to be, but it's a chance to go win a ring with Tom Brady. Right. That's pretty cool.
You know one of the things I find funny is all the people that say, well, they just picked him up to, pick his brain and get insight on the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, because they haven't whipped their butts for the last 5 years in a row when they play. They don't need intel. No. Man, they need a pass rusher.
They do.
And the one thing I will say about the New England Patriots, and this is what they do better than any organization in football, and this is a business perspective. So many businesses worry about what you can't do. Like, Skip, you're not very good at this, or you're not good at this, and Joy, just that, or Sharp, you're not good at this, as opposed to worrying about what you can do, what you can provide. And so the New England Patriots do it better than anybody else in football. They say, hey, listen, this guy can give us 6, 8 plays, 10 plays, 12 plays, whatever it is, and he can make an impact on our football team in these situations. Maybe it's short yardage. Maybe it's goal line. Maybe it's just nickel pass rush. Maybe that's where we are right now.
Sure.
And that's fine for us because we need that on our roster. As opposed to looking at the things, he's not as quick as he used to be, he's not as whatever he used to be. They're looking at it going, hey,
what if you just get one big play out of him? Just one big sack.
That's it.
In the Super Bowl.
I mean, who said, I don't want you anymore. I'm going to go date somebody else, but in a month, I might want you back. You better kick rocks. James Harris somebody might want me, but I'm just going to hold back here because you said, he didn't say I was, you might call me back in a month. No, I'm going to go on over here. They're upset about him going to New England. Why would New England need any intel? Y'all better hope he tells them.
Tom Brady's 10-2 lifetime against this team.
Skip, they better hope he tells them so they can change those plays because the ones they've been running all those years ain't working against the Patriots.
True.
So I agree with you, Stink. For me, I was all about mentoring. Everybody does it. Joe Montana wasn't trying to mentor Steve Young. Brett Favre made it abundantly clear. His job was not to get Aaron Rodgers ready to play. I get it. But that's not how I thought about it, Skip, because for me, if I got injured, I needed these guys to play well. And when I was gone, I want to think that I left this tight end situation in Denver and Baltimore better than what I found it. That was my mindset. Everybody doesn't think like that. But I was secure enough in myself in knowing dude can't beat me out. I don't care.
But the direct talk to you was Todd Heath. Where they drafted him high and said,
and I got him ready to play. Ozzie made the phone call and asked me, said, boy, what you want to do? I said, Ozzie, tell me what you think. He said, you made the Pro Bowl. You tied Tony with the most catches in the season. You can still play. He said, but we got to, we drafted Todd. We got to play him. And he can't beat you out. You're not going to, I don't want you to be a backup. Go play somewhere. That's what I did. I'm cool with that. I got no problem. The Baltimore Ravens was good to me, Skip.
Yeah.
All the kids, college fund, Granny got some new furniture, new appliances.
Yeah,
I'm good, Joy.
It's really just about the Patriots.
Yes.
Marquise Pouncey is, he's been there years, but James Harrison's been there a little bit longer, has 2 rings. I get it. It's a loyalty thing, but nobody said that they cut him.
One thing about
the Steelers
football,
organization.
You watch all the guys who signed long-term contracts in free agency last year that are going to get cut this year or have already been cut. Right?
There's
5-year deal, get out of here, right? That's the way it works.
Because the quarterback position is the only position that the Steelers really take care of. Everybody else will not get their contract renegotiated 2 or 3 years out. You got to be in the last year. But the old quarterback, take care of him.
No mercy. Todd Gurley is making a late push to win his first MVP award. Gurley has been on fire in December with 8 touchdowns in the last 3 games, and he leads the league in rushing. Right now, Gurley has the second-best MVP odds behind Tom Brady, according to Bovada. But Brady has been struggling this month with 5 interceptions. Skip, should Brady be the clear favorite for MVP?
Look, maybe I should disqualify myself from this discussion because I'm a Tom Brady fan, and I think he backs up people being a fan of his, except for the person across the table from me, and actually many, many others. But the point is that, to me, Todd Gurley is the all-time Johnny-come-lately to a playoff race that is being dominated
What you mean
by
playoff
Tom
race?
Brady.
You mean
I'm
MVP?
sorry, MVP race.
Okay.
That's being dominated by that quarterback up in Foxborough, and there is so much resentment of that quarterback. Maybe there's so much burnout factor because people are just sick and tired of Tom Brady winning and winning and winning that it was like with 2 weeks left in the season, or actually 3, oh, wait a second, there's Todd Gurley. Wait, we could jump on that
No,
bandwagon.
Todd Gurley was always there, but the guys that were ranked in front of him started getting hurt. Antonio Brown, Carson Wentz. Tell the truth, Skip Bayless.
Okay, I will tell the truth. So I'm going to look back at some games of rushing by Todd Gurley, a running back for the Los Angeles Rams.
Okay.
Started out against Indianapolis in the first game, and he went 19 times for 40 yards, rushed 19 times for 40 yards. So I know he catches a good number of balls, but then against Seattle in probably their biggest home game of the year, he rushed 14 times for 43 yards. And then at Minnesota, you could argue their second or third biggest game of the year, he went 15 times for 37 yards. Against New Orleans, pretty good defense, 17 for 74. That's not exactly dominating. At Arizona against a division rival, 19 for 74. Not exactly Terrell Davis kind of
That's
production.
4 yards a carry, but we'll take it.
Okay. And then against the Eagles, he was pretty good. He had 13 for 96, caught 3 for 39, but they lost the game. So these are big, huge home games in which the MVP should take the game over, but he plays a position that can't dominate a game the way the quarterback position can. So to me, the quarterback is always 10 times more valuable than the running back or the receiver or even the pass rusher. In the end, it's just a quarterback's game. So I can't get it through my head, even though he has caught 788 yards worth of balls. That's good, but he's rushed for 1,305. So you watched a guy in 1998 win MVP, rushing for 2,008 yards.
Yes.
Well, that controls the clock, plays keep away. It just bludgeons a defense. It has more impact running the football than catching swing passes or little pop passes over the middle. And that was Terrell Davis, 2,008 yards, and he scored 21 rushing TDs. So now Todd Gurley has 19 total TDs, but 13 rushing and 6 catching.
Right.
Well, then we saw Adrian Peterson threaten our man Eric Dickerson's all-time rushing record for a single season. In 2012, he went for 2,097 yards, did Adrian Peterson. Well, it's hard to argue against it, even though I thought Peyton should have won that year.
How many total touchdowns did AP have in that season?
13.
Oh, how many Todd Gurley got?
Okay. I want to tell you, this is just me. As far as running back touchdowns go, I think they're extremely overrated because if you score from the 1 or 2 yard line, I don't really care. Emmitt Smith used to lead the league year after year, and I was there, and I was like,
What about Tom Brady throwing from the 1?
well, whatever. It doesn't bother me. You can have that.
Oh, it doesn't bother you.
But what all I know about Tom Brady is he has taken a decimated, mediocre football team to the #1 seed in the AFC. And all I know is that in December, he went to Pittsburgh. Was it not the game of the year, right?
Yeah.
Game of the
They
year.
won.
He threw for almost 300 yards. He threw for 75 yards in the fourth quarter alone. You want to talk about clutch?
What about-
And they won the fourth quarter 11-0 at Pittsburgh.
Okay.
That's at Pittsburgh.
Joey, can you tell Skip, you got those numbers right down there, what did he do when he went to Miami?
Okay, what is it now? Okay, this is the game. Who's the #1 seed? That's all I need. Body of work. Who's the #1 seed in the AFC? Help me out.
New England. Well, it's kind of hard to be. Skip.
Who's number?
Skip.
Who's
hold on. Skip,
Number one seed. I'm choking over here.
How the Rams going to be the number one seed in the NFC when you got a team that's 13-2? Because if
Why
New England
not?
was in the AFC,
Dominate.
Skip.
Dominate.
If the New England was
dominate
in the,
on 3. 1, 2, 3.
If New England was in the NFC with that record, they wouldn't be the number one seed. Oh, see, I love how you do that. Because look, I believe Todd Gurley. Will you tell him what? Can you tell him what Todd Gurley did when he went to Jacksonville? Jacksonville got the number one defense in the NFL. Look on the paper. I don't see it over
I know,
there.
but I just gave you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games in which he was just kind of average or sometimes below average. It's not great. It's not transcendent.
Okay.
It's not Terrell Davis in 1998 or Adrian Peterson in 2012.
Okay, if you don't mind me asking.
And you're trying to make a case over what Tom
first game of the
Brady
season,
did?
first opening day. You win the Super Bowl, they're going to drop the banner. They dropped 2 banners. They dropped one with the Lombardi Trophy and another with 28-3. Can you tell people what Tom Brady did against Kansas City?
You know what? My restaurant over here, it only serves number 1 seeds. That's all we got is number 1 seeds.
Hold on.
So Tom Brady visits my restaurant every night because he's the number 1 seed.
Can you tell the people at home in Kansas City, it opened Thursday night, everybody's watching. They unveiled a banner. They filled the Lombardi
Okay,
in the
you got it.
In the 28-3. Can you tell the people at home?
Yeah.
Okay, the third
he had
game.
a miserable game. Wait a second.
No,
then what happened? With the season teetering, what happened the next week? Help me out. You tell the people. Tell the people what happened the second week of this season.
So the season, the season is teetering 2 weeks into the season.
Well, yeah, it is after that. That was a devastation, man.
When
they got blown off the field. Would they lose the fourth quarter like 21 to nothing?
Yeah, Skip, you're right. They went to New Orleans. They had it.
Because it's a scary place. Do you remember what happened the last time Tom Brady went down to New Orleans in 2009?
Yeah.
Right?
Okay, good. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
And then Cam Newton brings his Panthers.
See, we're going to sweep that under
Hold
the
on,
carpet.
Skip. I gave you that.
Yeah.
He outdueled Drew Brees, had 302 yards in the first half, threw for 400 in the entire game. But Carolina Panthers, Cam Newton came to Tom Brady's house.
Yeah.
Can you tell the people what happened?
Yeah, Tom Brady had a masterful game, had an 88 QBR. It's hard to have an 88. Masterful.
I started serving wine, Joe. I heard
300 yards. Guess what? That was in the stretch in which the New England defense was historically bad.
Skip, hold on.
It was by
Skip,
far the
you
worst
gonna make my
defense.
point?
What was the final score? 36-33. So Tom Brady, wait a second.
Who had the 36?
Tom Brady hung 33 points on that vaunted Carolina defense.
I just need to know.
Wow, interesting.
I just need to know who had the 36.
Yeah.
Because I'm not clear on that. Who had the 36?
Who had the better QBR?
You know that
night?
my pop-up shot, Joe. I heard someone told me came out here earlier today, and he said, people like wine.
You just stepped
So
in
now what I have to do now is that in my pop-up shops, I serve wine
Tom Brady,
with my hot dubs.
Tom Brady outplayed Cam
with a little
Newton
cheese.
that day.
I got a cheese dub now.
You
want
stepped
one?
in that one. Keep stepping. Keep
If you don't mind me asking, in Miami, can you tell the people at home Tom Brady's stat?
Well, they had a bad game. He's
You
7-9.
Joy, you see what he did?
Wait. Did you see what I did? I called it ahead of it. I've been saying all year, that's the game they're going to lose.
Because you
Wait a
say
second. Tom Brady is 7-9 in his career at Miami. It's hard. It's hot. It's late in the year, and Miami can rush the passer. New England cannot protect its passer. You've been saying it all year. He's taken too many hits. It's going to take a couple of more years off his career. So they can't protect. He's got nobody.
I called it early in the year. I said the Rams were going to lose at home to Seattle. So I go here. I told her that, Joy. So if he had a bad game, see what I did? I did a preemptive strike. That's what Skip did. He said they were going to have trouble.
No, it's just an educated prediction.
Oh, yeah, that's what I did. I predicted that Seattle would hand it to the Rams in the Coliseum.
You know what? I don't think you predicted that. Because I think we sat here with Eric Dickerson. I think both of you picked the Rams.
Okay, how about this
I'm
here?
pretty sure that was true.
I'm going to give it to you like this.
I picked Seattle.
I'm going to give it to you like this. Carson Wentz in 3 quarters against the Rams has as many touchdowns in the month of December as Tom Brady has. In 3 quarters, Tom Brady has the same amount of touchdowns in the whole month of December.
Hey,
we're not talking about.
We're talking about Todd Gurley here. So why didn't Todd Gurley cancel it out?
Whoa, Skip.
It's his home game.
Hold on,
Where was he in that game?
Skip.
He
Can you tell the people at home what Todd Gurley did to your Dallas Cowboys on the road?
Yeah, I can tell them exactly what happened. There was no Sean Lee in the second half. We led the first half 24-16, and in the second half, Todd Gurley ran wild because everybody ran wild on my defense with no Sean Lee. If Sean Lee had been there, there is no way he has that kind of yardage.
So you telling me they have to play a second half?
Yeah, with Sean Lee, they need.
But you haven't told the people at home what he did to Jacksonville, who possessed the number 1 defense in football. What did Todd Gurley do when he went
that game? He had a good game. And he had a good game in his last 2 games. So I'll give you 3 games. Is that an MVP season?
How about this here? Todd Gurley is 38% of their offense. That's the highest total since Adrian Peterson in 2012. What did Adrian Peterson do in 2012, Joey?
He won the MVP.
Wait a second. Their record is 11-4, and Tom Brady's record is 12-3.
So one game. So one game,
How
Skip.
could that be?
Look, hold on. Look at the NFC. How many teams have 12-3 records or better in the NFC?
I don't even know what your point is.
You know what my point is?
I don't.
Tom Brady is 12-3. The Pittsburgh Steelers are 12-3. They got a 13-2 in the NFC. They got a 12-3. They got a bunch. Oh, as a matter of fact,
Okay,
NFC,
well, let's just keep it.
Hold on, 11-4.
I mean, Tom Brady can only beat who he gets to beat on his schedule. So who has the toughest strength of schedule of anybody in the AFC playoffs right now? Who has it? Counselor. I'm asking you a question. Who has the toughest strength of schedule of any AFC playoff
Why does that matter
team?
if you got Tom Brady?
Well, it doesn't.
Oh, okay.
That's what happened.
Okay,
One team
then.
has Tom Brady, and it has the toughest strength of schedule of any playoff team.
Have we seen?
Wow, that's interesting.
So I'm just trying to figure out what is.
How did he pull this off?
What do you mean
This
pull
is
it
his
off?
greatest accomplishment.
How?
Because he lost Julian Edelman and then Chris
But you
Hogan.
said he's nothing. You said Hogan's nothing. He can lose.
No,
lose
you
no
said
guy.
that. I
No,
didn't
you
say
said
that.
it. You said it. Or they're not Julio Jones. They're not Antonio Brown.
That's what you kept telling me. Julian Edelman's like, are we really putting him in the same sentence with Julio?
No, first of all, they play different positions, and for what they need. See, that's how you look at it. You say, well, if the guy's not Julio or AB, he's not a legit receiver. If he's not Le'Veon Bell or Todd Gurley, he's not a legit running back. But for what the Pittsburgh Steelers, when have they ever had a top, other than Randy Moss, when have they ever had a top outside receiver?
Well, at least last year they had Martellus. They lost him again this year, right?
Skip.
They had Malcolm Mitchell last year. They lost
Skip.
him this year. What did they? I don't even know. It's just like Gronk or bust.
I'm asking you, since Tom Brady has been there, when have they, with the exception of Randy Moss for those 3 years, have they ever had a top 5 guy play outside of the numbers?
Thank you. That's why he is easily the greatest quarterback ever. He takes guys off the street and they used that kid Hollister the other day. They featured some guy named Hollister,
you can't,
an undrafted rookie from Wyoming in the first quarter the other day. They featured him.
You can't say Michael Jordan is the GOAT because he's 6 for 6, and then say Tom Brady is the GOAT when he's 4-2 and Joe Montana's undefeated. You can't say that, Skip.
5.
Okay, he's 5-1. I give him that he's 5-1, but he's lost. So how does he get to be the GOAT? Because if you can be the GOAT by losing championship games, well, I got some serious questions for you. I need to ask.
Well, I mean, Michael Jordan is the greatest performer in any sport ever. He just is.
Whoa.
Yeah.
No, that's not what you said. You said Tom Brady surpassed Michael Jordan.
I said in clutch performances on the biggest stage, he has. Because it's hard for Michael Jordan to compete with that.
Well, how do you? You lost 2 games.
He's
you
been
lost 2
dominating
games.
the
Michael Jordan never lost in the
last 2
finals.
fourth quarters.
No, but no. The game is not just fourth quarters. So I'm just trying to figure out how Tom Brady gets to be the GOAT when he's lost 2 championships.
You already told me he's the GOAT.
No. I'm telling you. Well,
you told me last year.
Okay, I'm telling you Todd Gurley's the MVP.
Wait a second.
I'm telling you Todd Gurley's the MVP.
Which side are you arguing now?
I'm
you
asking
told
you.
me before last year's Super Bowl, Tom Brady's the greatest quarterback ever.
I'm just using your argument.
Now what?
I'm just using your argument. You used the argument says if you go undefeated in championship games, that makes you the GOAT. Well, Tom Brady's 4-2. Why is he the GOAT? You make it seem like Tom Brady is 15-0. Tom Brady's team has lost. Tom Brady has played bad. Look at here. He only had 70 yards here. He only had 80 yards there. Okay. You make it seem like Tom Brady's thrown for every game 300 yards.
What are you talking about? Against the Giants, he lost twice. In the first one, he threw what looked like was the winning touchdown pass
did he throw
with
for
2 minutes
Did
left.
he throw for 300 yards?
No, that was a really great defense.
Oh, well, wait a minute. You mean to tell me the GOAT can't beat a really good defense? They got 1 Hall of Famer. They had two on New England. Randy Moss and Tom Brady going to the Hall of Fame.
Obviously took the luckiest play in Super Bowl history to beat Tom Brady in that game, and Eli admits it. It was just he just closed his eyes and threw it as far as he could.
Victory
and it stuck in Tyree's face
the
mask.
man that has everything in order. Look, some call it. No, you see what you did there, Skip?
You know, in all of his Super Bowl performances, Tom Brady missed 1 throw, and it still should have been caught by Wes Welker. And if it had been caught, we'd be having another different conversation.
Well, you know what? If Seattle would have run the ball,
he only won 5.
No. What will his record say? What would the resume read? He's 4-2. currently. Skip, you're trying to minimize, and I get, because you have to look at it. When Terrell Davis ran for those 2,000 yards, there was a different league then. They didn't throw
He's
the ball.
won 5.
I'm talking about Todd Gurley.
Oh.
Todd Gurley
But Tom Brady's won
Tom Brady
5
has 5.
Super Bowls.
Okay,
he's won 5. I say he's won 6.
No, stop doing that. Skip.
But I'm saying
he's
he
5
has
and 7.
actually
He's 5
won
and 2.
5.
No, he's 5 and 2, Skip.
Well, that's
not 7-0.
That's really good.
Oh, okay, well, hold on. Perfection. We strive for perfection. Is $2.99 really good in bowling, or is $300 perfection? Is $20?
$2.99
What's
is
a perfect
really
game? What's a perfect game, Skip? What's a perfect baseball? If he pitches a perfect game, what is that?
I don't care.
You do care.
I don't care. I care that Tom Brady is the MVP, and you know it
Why?
in your heart, and
Tell me, but you
you're
haven't
just
told me
trying
why.
to defy it.
Now you're going by wins.
I just told you
now you're
why.
going by wins. Oh,
He took a decimated, mediocre football team with a defense that right now has given up the 29th most yards in the league.
If you don't mind
Let me finish.
Okay, go ahead.
The 29th most yards in the league, and he overcame all
total
that
D.
to the number
Fifth in
one.
total D.
Number 1 seed.
Fifth.
He beat Pittsburgh at Pittsburgh again to get to 11-2 lifetime.
If you don't mind me asking, Skip, who did they lose off their Super Bowl winning roster that said they were going to be worse than what they were last year?
I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking
Todd
about.
Gurley, hold on. Todd Gurley, that team last year, what was their record last year, Skip?
They had a
But different
terrible coach. You know it. He sabotaged the whole year.
Don't do that, Skip.
Well, you're the guy. You tell me that. And I agree with you.
I didn't say he sabotaged.
Although I think if you ask that coach, he would say that he's responsible for this team.
Yeah, exactly.
It's okay.
The cupboard was loaded. It wasn't bare. It was loaded
If you
with talent.
don't mind me asking, since you say the quarterback is always the most important, who's more valuable, Leonard Fournette or Blake Bortles?
Well, just every once in a while, there's a 2000 Ravens where the middle linebacker is more valuable than the quarterback.
I ain't got no problem with that.
Yeah. It happens. It's the aberration.
It happens, Joyce. Sometimes the aberration is Todd Gurley is your MVP.
It's the exception to the rule.
Thank you, Skip.
But
appreciate it.
The Jacksonville Jaguars will go as far this year as Blake Bortles takes them. You know it, and I know
No further questions, Your Honor.
No mercy. Thanks for listening to the Undisputed Podcast. I'm Joy Taylor. Join us again at 9:30 a.m. Eastern on Monday for another full week of Undisputed. We'll see you then.
Fox Sports, one of one.